Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
It's going down, down. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, 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 girlfriends. We are here. It's Monday. Monday Motivation with Sabrina Goodwin Monday. And we got you. We got issues. Join the conversation, 313-778-7600. We're excited about a Monday, brand new week. The sun is shining here. The days are longer. I barely have a voice from screaming my head off at the NCAA championships. I'm telling you what, y'all, I'm trying to get my whole life all back together again because I was just out there in a whole nother stratosphere. That wrestling world is different. When you're a wrestling mama, it's different. Ask Kelly Ripa. She talked about it the first 20 minutes of her show today because she was at the same tournament I was at. And she talked about the stresses of a wrestling mama and what you go through. And she had an All-American mother, aunt in her audience. Must have been one of her friends. But she was like, I have an aunt of an All-American. I was like, you could have had a mama of an All-American, okay? You could have.
Right, that's right. That's right. Talk to him.
But it's all good, you guys. Thank you for all your love and thoughts and prayers. Quincy participated, as you guys know, in the national NCAA national championship, wrestling championship in Detroit. And Michael, I had everybody watching. Michael said, Sabrina, for the first time I paid attention to wrestling, and I really enjoyed it. You guys know today is Crisette's birthday, so she's off today. Let's say happy birthday to First Lady Crisette. Yes.
You better.
Oh, you better know it. Yes. Dorothy was like, well, she's not going to be here. But I said, put that overlay in anyway, okay? Because she will be going back to make sure that we celebrated her. It was so great. I got to spend most of the day with her yesterday on her birthday. We went to lunch with her and her family. Then we came back to the house, beautiful home, and had cake and ice cream. Did you guys see her Louis Vuitton birthday cake?
We saw it.
Yes.
You need to go find Crisette Ellis on social media and just to look at the cake. Forget Chris's. Look at the cake because cake will lead you to Crisette and wishing her happy birthday.
Cake. Yes. Let's all say happy birthday to First Lady Crisette.
Yes.
So it was a week, you guys. I tell you, we'll talk all about it later, but huge kudos to Quincy Monday, number 2 in the country in the 157 weight class. I mean, that's a big doggone deal. The oldest sport in the world, the toughest sport in the world, and to be ranked number 2 at one of the toughest college tournaments in the world is a big doggone deal. National TV, ESPN, all week long. It was something. So, girlfriends, I'm glad to be back with you. We're back. Glad to be back with our tribe. We have Ashleigh Gordon. We are going to explore the arts and talk about how purposeful and powerful she is at making sure Black history is celebrated not only in February, but 365 days a year through the arts. And so we're excited to have Ashleigh. We'll meet her in just a bit out of Boston, Massachusetts. Caterina, how are you out there on the West Coast? Talk to us.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm just grateful. We feel spring coming in, and we're celebrating. And I'm excited to talk about some great news. I will say that literally right before we went on the air, it popped up. Those of you that follow gospel music, we just lost LaShawn Pace,
Yes.
a renowned gospel singer, 60 years old. I mean, it literally just popped up. I haven't read anything about it, but that's a big loss to the gospel community. And on the sweet side, we are celebrating. I mean, literally, I was celebrating just Black love. I was celebrating Black empowerment as I'm watching Judge, soon to be Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson in her opening statement.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, seeing her there was emotional, but the most emotional part I'm breaking up just thinking about was seeing her parents.
Right.
And you could just see that generation. You could see the representation of that generation, the struggle of that generation, the weight of that generation, 54 years
Right.
in marriage. It just, her husband, his twin brother, her children, her husband's parents being married. And then her opening statement, she was so skilled in explaining her name, the meaning of her name, why they named her. She's overcoming every objection, and she's the lesson. Tomorrow we're going to talk about, are you a giver or a taker? But I'm telling you, she's just sitting there just as poised as they talk about her record. And you can study a lot from how Black women have all had to do it. Bite your tongue, hold your tongue, and then speak very eloquently and cut them at the knees without them feeling cut up. Okay.
Smart. Savvy.
Yes. I'm excited to watch it.
Beautiful sight.
Gloria
Mayfield Banks, how are you?
Happy Monday, y'all. Happy dang on Monday. You know our advertisement. Sabrina says, if there's something to talk about, we're going to talk about it here. So first, let me just go back to Justice Jackson. I mean, I just think that it's just so imperative, all the things that you said. And for everybody who is not necessarily clued in, you want to go back and go to YouTube and see her opening statement, because I'm telling you, it is going to send chills down your back for real. Just the whole unfolding of it. And you're right, Caterina, so much to learn from someone as she smiles through it all. I can't wait for them to turn on the hoses on her tomorrow and watch her handle that. She knows they're coming. She's totally prepared. 4 out of the 9 justices have went to Harvard Law School. I didn't know that statistic. So it's just a big deal. And, we have to rise it up because it's getting moved to the side because of the war, which is also just monumental as the president goes over to Europe. That's just a big statement. Watching him navigate this, I think I ask every military person I know, what is the real deal? What's really going down? And they tell you different things that we don't know about. It's just a big deal. We got to stop here now, y'all. I know we're going to talk about it later this week, but today is Crisette's birthday. And if you don't know, these girlfriends, they sure know how to compete for somebody's birthday, okay? First, Caterina comes out with this long, fabulous song played TikTok. I was like, oh my goodness, show 55,000 pictures of how beautiful Crisette is. And then Sabrina goes and writes a poem. I mean, a poem, really, like a poem. Like, really? Like, you have to write her a poem. Like we don't even do that for our kids, okay? We do that for each other just because we compete for each other. That's just absolutely great. So, y'all, tonight, I'm going to stay up and write a song. I'm going to write a song. Okay, C-R-I-S. I mean, just, it's going to be real bad. But the other thing I want to point out, because I know we're going to get to it later this week, but honestly, you guys, when we talk about how we define girlfriends and why we've been girlfriends for 30 years, it's like when one's in it, we're all in it. One's in it, we're all in it. So Quincy was on all of our minds, all of our prayers, all of our energy. It was just like so much energy, so much for him to be, I mean, first All-American. It's one thing for the mama, but, to be All-American is just so big, you guys. It's so big. And I love the way he talked about his parents, and he talked about how they saw how you guys sacrificed for him to do that. It was just beautiful because he keeps his grades up and he wrestles like that. And then to be runner up to the world champion, because, it ain't the world champ, it's the national champ. But I call it what I want to. Okay, I call it what I want to, and to me, it's the world champion because he is runner up to the world champion. And I mean, that was just so big. And then, I mean, seriously, all we do in this circle is win, win, win. Caterina comes off the #1 speaker at her conference, the #1 speaker. Caterina, we have to lift you up for that because that was so big. The energy, the creativity, the desire to step into a place that she wasn't really feeling like it, but she went in there, she handled it, and she did it with such class. So we are ready for our guest, somebody who's going to celebrate Black history from everybody. I mean, it's so exciting, y'all. So there's a lot to be concerned about, and there's a lot to be excited about. So back to you, Sabrina. I'm excited for the show. We got issues, baby. We got issues for real.
Yes. And I just want to say how important the girlfriends are. That's why you have to have balcony people in your circle to celebrate you all the time, your kids all the time. Honestly, you guys, it means so much to each. When you have a good girlfriend, you got a whole lot because she not only cheers for you, but she cheers for your entire family. And so I want to thank you guys again so very, very much. You guys, let's pop in.
Tomorrow's my show. We talking all about it. I just wanted to say tomorrow's my show. I'm interviewing you all about it. So just get ready, okay?
Awesome. Excellent. Well, let's go to Miss Ashleigh out of Boston, Massachusetts. You guys, this is an accomplished young woman. Bring Ashleigh Gordon in. Ashleigh, give her a round of applause. Yes.
Hi.
Welcome to We Got Issues. Woo!
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
You guys, when I tell you this young woman is accomplished, she's smart, she's forward thinking. Let me just read a little bit about who she is, and then she's going to tell us what she does and how she has become and is becoming. Described as charismatic and captivating performer, Ashleigh Gordon has recorded with Switzerland's ensemble Proton and Germany's ensemble Modern, performed with Grammy Award winning BMOP and A Far Cry, and appeared at the prestigious BBC Proms Festival with the China Key Orchestra. Comfortable on an international stage, she has performed in the Royal Albert and Royal Festival Halls, London, Frankfurt, Germany, Bern, Switzerland. Oh my goodness, you guys. She is co-founder, artistic executive director, and violist of Castle of Our Skins, a Boston-based concert and educational series devoted to celebrating Black artistry through music. Give this young queen a big round of applause. Yes. Ashleigh.
Thank you.
Welcome to We Got Issues. We want you to tell us about yourself, your music, how you got started, and really what excites you most about what you've got going on right now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, thank you so much for having me. And clearly you have such a warm sense about each other. 30 years, that's amazing, of being friends, of being in community together. For me, I very much really appreciate the idea of just sort of having a playground to work with. And my playground involves other people, and involves music, and involves sounds, other arts. And I've always been interested in the way that I can sort of pair things together. So I very much appreciate the people in my community that I've had relationship, maybe not for 30 years, but a good long relationship with, and being able to create things with them. So oftentimes I perform in small groups, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people, and really appreciate the idea of having that tight-knit community to share the stage with, to have rehearsal with, to have conversation with over a long period of time. So I play viola, I play music, largely classical music, and really do enjoy working with other artists and collaborating in all sorts of forms.
So tell us about Castle of Our Skins. Tell us all about that organization.
Sure. Castle of Our Skins is going to be turning 10. So we have a 10-year birthday coming up. But it was started between myself and longtime friend, Anthony Green, who's a composer, when we met doing school during our graduate studies here in Boston at the New England Conservatory. This was before there were Black student unions and sort of shared spaces dedicated for that kind of friendship building. But we were classmates and literally sat next to each other as our names are alphabetically next to one another. So the universe was really intentional about putting us in each other's lives. And we wanted to create an opportunity where we could support each other because we had and still do have respect for each other's craft and find ways to be financially independent, to be creatively independent, and to learn because we're both really interested in each other, in the world, in culture, in history, in music and arts. So Castle of Our Skins was born about 10 years ago, really as a way to explore all of those things and to do it together. The name, I think, really speaks to the mission, to the work that we do. And it's based off of a poem by Nikki Giovanni, who is one of my favorite poets. And the poem, called Poem for Nina, says that if we're all imprisoned in the castle of our skins, we might as well treat our skin like a castle and treat our body, which has been all sorts of scrutiny over all sorts of generations, treat our body like a temple and love it for what it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We want to come back to that name and the meaning of your organization, all the great things that you guys are doing. We're going to take a station break. We'll be right back with Ashleigh Gordon. We'll be right back. We're back. We're back. Yes, yes, yes. With the force of friendship. We've been girlfriends for 30 plus years, and it's always something exciting happening. You better believe if it's happening, the girlfriends are talking about it. We got issues, and so that's why we came together and said, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get on the radio and talk about it. We are here Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will tell you what, we're excited to have Ashleigh Gordon, Castle of Our Skins, co-founder of an incredible arts foundation where she says it was named after the poem by Nikki Giovanni, right? Nikki Giovanni, is that right? Yes. And I want to go back and visit that poem and talk about the importance of us being proud of who we are in our skin, protecting that, lifting each other up. It is quite empowering. Ashleigh, to be young, gifted, and Black, talented, world traveler, we salute you. We only can imagine what you must go through at that level. I attended graduate school at Boston University. Gloria got an MBA at Harvard. And so we spent a lot of time in that Boston area. And New England Conservatory of Music, baby, we
So
know you got it going on. Okay, we know.
Yeah.
And so talk to us, tell us all about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a transplant. I grew up in Rochester, New York. So the only sort of comparable I have is the snow, is the cold. But Boston, I mean, when I came here, I was struck by the brownstones and the trees and outdoor gardens, and it just looked very beautiful. And having lived here for about 15 or so years, it's you just see underneath, and it's unsettling, the structural racism, the siloing of communities, the closed communities. There's more and more effort, especially within the arts, which is where I sit, to have more conversation and to work together, and now more efforts with philanthropy and with the city to really work together. And I would say it's a sort of push that needs pushing. It needs continual pushing, and it definitely gets tiring to have to be able to continue to push, where there are other spaces where there's an infrastructure already built, or it has a longer history, I should say, of being open and being responsive and being community oriented and community minded. So it's definitely been difficult. I have been an educator for over 20 years. And through working with a lot of Haitian students and African-American students, realized that I had a different and unique perspective as a Black woman, as a first-generation American. My family's Jamaican, to connect with students and what cultural representation could actually look like and mean. This was in my 20s when I realized this. I didn't have this experience growing up. I didn't have this experience certainly at school. There wasn't anything sort of culturally rich and unique that was flagged as being a position that I could really own and walk into. So my own skin, really owning and understanding and embracing that and heralding it, right? As loud as I could. So that realization happened pretty late for me. And in a space such as Boston and Cambridge that has so much arts and richness and in history, that doesn't herald from the treetops all of its connections with African diasporic communities and cultures and immigrant communities here. It's really just jarring sometimes to think about how much hasn't been and isn't shared. So this organization really was started as a way to share that, to have a platform to share and to connect, and to your point, to do it 365, 7 days a week, right? Because there's enough, more than enough content to keep it going, really, as a constant.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How long have you played your instrument? Is that instrument the only instrument that you play?
It's the only one that I think anyone would want to hear me play. I think I'll say that. I started out on piano when I was really young, maybe around 4 or 5-ish. We don't have a love relationship, the piano and I. So I switched over to violin in public school in 4th grade, and very much am an advocate for public school music education and arts education in general. And then in college, I say that I was struck with the age of reason and found the love of my life, which was viola, and have been playing that for not quite 20 years, but a good chunk of my professional life has been on viola.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Girlfriends, I could ask her so many questions. I don't want to hog up all the time. So jump in, okay?
I really have to ask you this, Ashleigh. I really got to ask you this if I can. You know, we are so into role modeling here and so big into making sure that people know who we are, bragging about all the phenomenal things that we are doing. And I love the way that you described Boston, because it does look so gorgeous on the surface, and it's so rich with diversity, but it is so choked by people that don't want that diversity to come alive in so many ways. And I was there for 20 years, and I'm really feeling you. But the question I do have for you is, you know, classical music, Black, talent, public school. I really want to hear from you as an educator, what you see that parents do right to bring that talent out, and what you see that they may not do so well, that the talent that's there for our classical musicians comes out.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think with parents, understanding that it's very much a process. So we very, very few people are sort of birthed into the world being prodigies, and understanding that the process is the learning experience. So it's not so much the product, getting on stage and performing and getting into X school or X festival, or sort of the tip of the iceberg, but the learning experience is so worth it for all sorts of social reasons and developmental reasons. So sticking with the process, and if it doesn't mean that it always sounds like Twinkle Twinkle, if it should sound like Twinkle Twinkle, it's okay. And then I think being able to find community and find space and resources that can help support that long process, because it is a long process. I've been doing this for I won't say how many decades, but a good number of years. And it's costly. It can definitely be costly, and especially for parents, time consuming to chart your child back and forth and back and forth. So really trying to find networks and resources here in the Boston area. There's really great organizations that help support on all sorts of social and economic, family structure levels. Community Music Center of Boston is one that services 4,000 students outside of the Boston Public Schools. Project STEP is another for Black and Latino string players. Intensive Community Program, which is where I used to teach with the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestras, has free instruments for the duration of your studies from 5 to 18, and a number of other programs. Music Connects, for instance. So
Wow.
I can speak on behalf of Boston, just asking questions and being steadfast in asking those questions until you can find the right resources to support your child.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
So many resources. It's why everyone needs mentors, and it's why we love having amazing guests like you on the show, Ashleigh. I just love surrounding myself with artists and brilliant minds like yourself, because I feel like it's totally feel like I'm totally on the other side, which makes me lean in and just love so much to watch the arts and go and experience. And so I immediately went to your website, and it's just beautiful. And so I know you'll talk about both of your websites, but you guys, I encourage you to go to castleskins.org. And so I wanted you to talk about where you say on your website, born out of the desire to foster cultural curiosity. It's kind of just an add-on to what Gloria talked about. What does that look like? How have you fostered cultural curiosity? And can you talk about it both from the white and the Black perspective? Because of course there's Black folks that have never been introduced to classical music. And then I know you are able to tap into heroes and unsung heroes, as you said. And so I just want to hear more about that, fostering cultural curiosity, and how it is, helping you to spread our history.
That's such a great question. For me, I treat every situation as an educational one, whether it's in a classroom specifically where it's designated to be educational, or a concert space. So the work, I think, is an example of sharing out knowledge, sharing out history, sharing out relevance, and hopefully to be able to, in a pretty optimistic way, encourage someone to feel excited by something that they didn't know, but wasn't as thorny or unapproachable or unattainable as maybe they had previously thought, and be excited by that, to then take that a step further, to then do a little bit more researching, or listen to something with maybe more open ears, or ask questions. So the idea of planting a seed is really important. We may not be able to share everything, all knowledge and history over the eons that we've been around, right? But we can at least plant seeds and then encourage those seeds again with daily and consistent sharing out of knowledge in an invitational, open way. So with my field in classical music, African diasporic creators, composers have been around for over 500 years, which is not common knowledge. It's not something that I learned in conservatory. It's not something other colleagues, talk about. It's not something that's cover pages of most books, right? And so if we as the performers, the culture bearers, and the ones that are sort of setting trends artistically aren't aware, how can we encourage our audiences to be? So for me, part of that fostering is within my community, my cohort of artists, to make sure that we are as open and knowledgeable to be able to even take that stage, and then to be able to create with all of our audiences a sense of invitation and warmth and openness. You can come as you are. You can come knowing everything, quote unquote, or knowing nothing, and still walk away having learned something and having been affected.
I love that.
That's awesome.
So good.
That's so awesome, you guys. We're going to go to a commercial break, but what we hear you saying, Ashleigh, especially for parents with young people, exposure, exposure, exposure. There's no reason why, with all of these community-based programs out there, get your kids involved in an art. It makes a difference. We never know unless we give them that opportunity. We'll be right back, you guys. We got issues and we're talking about them. We are talking about the arts today with Ashleigh Gordon out of Boston, Mass. We'll be right back. back. We're back. 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. Thank you, Michael, for all you do. Our king behind the scene, making this thing work. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you, Michael, for all that you do. And we are here with Ashleigh Gordon, just a talented educator. She gives the gift of her music to young people. She wants them exposed. She believes that everybody should have that opportunity. And so she is co-founder of Castle of Our Skins. They do amazing programs in the city. She's going to tell us a little bit more. Go to her website. You can see all about it. But I think we have a caller. Caller, are you there? Thank you for calling. We got issues with Sabrina, Caterina, Crisette, and Gloria. And today, Ashleigh. We're good, Marathon. Happy Monday.
Same to you, and congratulations to Quincy, and happy birthday, First Lady. Yeah, what's going on? I wanted to know. I think I heard you say it. Your guest said before. Your principal instrument was the violin.
Viola.
Viola. Very, very close. It's bigger and better than the violin. I like to say.
Viola. Now, coming up as a teenager or young person, did you play in church?
I did play in church.
Did I play in church?
I did not. I think I sang. I didn't play in church.
I didn't play in church.
Well, did you find yourself making arrangements for strings and stuff like that?
Not so much. To be honest, I was really focused on just the playing aspect, not so much the figuring out what to play or making the things to play. But with my good friend and co-founder Anthony, we arranged so many spirituals, which is probably one of my most beloved things to play on viola.
And the one other question I wanted to ask, had you ever had the opportunity to play with the Alvin dance troupe?
I have not, but funny you should say they just appeared in my inbox. They're coming to Boston next month. I've seen them a bunch of times, and I would love to go see them again. They're revelation just every time I see it. It's so amazing. But no, I haven't performed with Al and Ellie, but if you have connections.
Right. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Marathon. Thank you for always being a constant
value to the show. Excellent. So the viola, you say it's bigger and badder than the violin. Tell us a little bit about the sound, the difference. I know it says you started with the violin in elementary and then you moved on to the viola. So talk about that transition and the difference.
Yeah. The viola is literally a little bit bigger. So if you think of it like a family, the violin is maybe the baby, and then viola is the older, wiser, more mature sister.
Beautiful.
Go up there. But the sound of it, because it's bigger, it has a lower register. So it's, for me, more natural to a speaking voice. Oftentimes the music for viola is maybe melancholy or sad or nostalgic. And being an introvert, I think I sort of occupied a lot of that space growing up. So I am able to kind of connect, I think, with it. And then also similar to sort of humans and pets and their dogs, and you can almost see that they are well paired. Similarly with instruments and the personality of the person, I think, are often well paired. And the viola is often, for instance, in chamber music, when you have 4 people, like how we have 4 people today playing music, the viola sits in the middle and is sort of the quiet influencer that can help bring things together, not necessarily out front and center, being the one who has the solo and literally taking the mic all the time, but is really influential inside in the inner workings to make things happen. And I think that is the space that I really occupy as a facilitator, as a community gatherer, really listening and trying to bring things together, and not necessarily being the one that has to be center stage all the time. So we make a good team, I think, the viola and myself.
Ashleigh,
Oh.
Ashleigh, we need you to join the force of friendship because we don't have anybody like that in our force of friendship. Everybody's grabbing the mic. Everybody's out front. We need you really badly, like really. We need somebody to blend this all together for real, for real.
She's
gonna
a
be a
quiet
blessing.
Made me so
influencer.
curious. The way you described it made me so curious. I mean, you just made it. I've never heard anyone
She made
describe
it
their
sing.
instrument
She made
that
it
way.
sing,
Yeah,
right?
you made it
Yeah.
sing. Absolutely. I was like, really, really, really? Okay. I want to hear so much more just about your love for the instrument. So that's just amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Ashleigh, how do we find your music, things that you've arranged? How do we listen? I want to go find viola right now. I want to listen to viola music right now. So, how do we find that?
Yeah. Well, with Castle of Our Skins, we have a lot of educational things. And again, concerts I see as education and workshops I see as educational on our YouTube page. So if you did go to our website, castleskins.org, or just Google search Castle of Our Skins YouTube, you can find us there. I am not playing in all the videos. I'm playing in most of them, but you can definitely hear viola there and certainly experience a whole breadth of not only music making, but dance and visual art as well, as we are multidisciplinary. And then similarly with me, Ashleigh, spelled a little bit uniquely, Ashleigh, my full name.
Right.
If you Google searched Ashleigh Gordon viola, you would also find some videos of me specifically, or my nickname is Ash, as in Arthur Ashe, A-S-H-E, or Ashe. So Viola Ash with the A shared, or Viola She, little complicated.com. You can also find me there and listen and watch.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Actually,
wonderful. Go ahead.
I have a
Caterina.
question to jump in, and this is just a conversation myself and my husband were just having, and you may not know, but I bet you do know the answer to this, that just talk to the audience about the benefits of just listening to the viola, for example. Doesn't it spark certain parts of your brain that listening to other music doesn't spark? That they've even used it, I've heard, with stroke victims or other victims, that it helps to really fire certain parts of their brain. And can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if it's so specific, and I would hate to think that it's so specific, because that feels pretty elitist, and like classical music is the only thing that does that. But music and arts in general, I like to think as being kind of magical. So without needing to manipulate you or touch you, I can literally lower your heart rate or elevate your heart rate. I can cause you to smile. I can transport you to a different geography just with the sounds that I play. You can think that you're in the Caribbean, depending on what I play, or you want to move your hips. And again, I haven't touched you, right? So the aspect of arts, I think in general, is really transporting, and to transport us to a space of rest, of calm. If we're feeling anxious, to just put on a track, or if we need to get pumped up, put on, Megan Thee Stallion or something, right? And we're able to really affect our mood that way. And I would like to think that, again, with viola being quite calm, potentially a little bit, calm, I guess I would say. Although there are certainly some fiery things that you can do on viola, but it brings a sense of just kind of dark, a river of dark chocolate that you're just sort of oozing into. If I had to make a description there.
Actually,
And
you're
when
so
you have-
calm. You're so calm. You just like chilled us totally out. Okay, we're usually high strung, blah 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 blah. Now I'm just like easy, like Sunday morning.
Chocolate.
Okay, Ashleigh.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is so awesome. Ashley, I have a question for you. You got something, Sabrina?
No,
I was just
have
saying,
a
when you got issues, it's good to be calm from time to time. That's all I was saying.
When I listen to you talk about how music transports people, I see in you a real professor. Like, you bring out explaining to people what this instrument that they're going through the process to do with it, and teaching them. I'd love you to tell me, is there a teacher, or was there one or two teachers that really struck your chord in a special place, that took your journey to a higher level than maybe some others? Because the teachers you had at the New England Conservatory, even before that, even in elementary school, you know, you just had a plethora of amazing mentors. So I was wondering if one stood out and why.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably my, but not my first violin teacher, but the one who kind of got me into a serious mode. And really, I think what struck me is leading by example. So literally being able to, yes, have a lesson, and they can talk and share and provide verbal instruction, but literally getting up on stage and playing is education in and of itself. So if you're a visual artist going to an art museum, those are your mentors up on the wall. If you're a musician going to a performance, if you're a dancer going seeing Alvin Ailey, right? Those are your educational experiences. And I think for me, really being able to be so close that I can really see and touch has been inspiring for me.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
All right, we'll come back. This is 19 a.m. The Superstation with Ashleigh Gordon. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back. Thanks for
We're
joining.
watching you in the
We got
chat.
issues.
We're watching you in the chats.
We're back. Yes, yes, yes. With the girlfriends, the Force of Friendship. Make sure you go to our website, theforceoffriendship.com. We've got lots of exciting things going on. You've got to make sure that you subscribe to our mailing list. We want to be in touch with you. You want to be in touch with us, because we're always looking for exciting, wonderful people to feature on our show. So we are here with Ashleigh Gordon. And Ashleigh, we've had a really good time getting to know you, getting to know much more about your organization. I was reading about you, and it says that as an advocate of social change through education, you served as viola instructor in the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra's intensive community program. And we all know from the Boston area how big the Boston Symphony is. I mean, just incredible, incredible, incredible. I used to love going to hear, well, I would love them, of course, during the 4th of July, the Boston Pops and all the things they do out on the river. But I mean, being a mentor and role model, facilitator for these young people, teaching them instruments and really just letting them know what's possible. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face in reaching them? Because even though we take them, our children, and expose them, they might not always gravitate. It might not be cool to be playing an instrument. What do you face, and how can parents overcome the obstacles?
Sure. Teaching at that program has really impacted me and how I view my role. I'm no longer there at that position, but have a real strong soft spot for that organization. And I remember working with students. The idea is, as a teacher, there's certain things that need to be taught, right? So if you're a music teacher, there are certain musical skills, certain repertoire scales, the basics, right? And so much
Right.
about what I wanted to teach was social skills and confidence and posture, just literally holding your head up, elevating your
Right.
spine, just holding
Yeah.
your head up a little bit more, which is,
Mhm.
yes, related to the music, but it's more about your humanity. And
Mhm.
I found myself being in a bit of a competition with time, because there's not enough time to teach the music and the technique and the skills, and not enough time to really get to the human and the social development, and just allowing, okay, this is not the time for you to be doing X, Y, and Z. So let's just talk and explore and just make sure that you're okay as a person. So I
Mhm.
found that has been maybe more challenging in that space. Again, working with a lot of, as I said, African American and Haitian students, than in other spaces in my 20 years of being an educator. Really wanting to be intentional about the care of the human, and needing to really, in order to be able to even get to the music.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure what parents
that's
can really do
really.
about that. Sorry, to
Yeah,
your other
no,
part of the
that's
question.
good. Well, I think you answered a question that you can't just shove the music down their throat. I mean, I remember I had some classmates in elementary, they hated going to piano practice. They hated doing music, but their parents forced them, and they ended up hating it and quitting as soon as they could. So I think just teaching them to be strong and finding their way and making sure that they want to, and
Mhm.
listening to them is important before we
Mhm.
just shove an instrument in their face. I think that's
Mhm.
valuable
Mhm.
information. I know that Castle of Our Skins, you've got a big program coming up soon. I think it's in April or May.
Mm,
Tell us about that. Is it a fundraiser? Tell us all about, is it an annual event?
yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Sure, sure. So we have no shortage of surprises as we are turning 10, and one of our biggest is literally to have a ball in July. It's the big culminating date, and
Wow.
that is a collaboration, very much again part of a family of friends collaboration project with longtime collaborator artist Daniel Callahan. And Daniel uses the face as a canvas to create masks. He spells it a little bit differently, MASSQ. And the idea is
Wow.
very much rooted in indigenous practices of body decoration. So transforming your face into a walking work of art, you are transforming into a walking work of art, even more so than what you already are. And the event is very much based in ritual, ceremony. It'll be outdoors in Boston at the Arnold Arboretum, which is also celebrating its 150th anniversary.
Oh,
It'll
wow.
Wow.
The
be a
Arboretum? Wow.
Yeah. So amidst the
I live
trees,
across
amidst
the
the
street from
conifers,
that. That's awesome.
in the arboretum, and it'll be an opportunity for communities of color to come together and heal, celebrate, create, again, be transformed, and be an expression with all sorts of different communities of color. And the biggest sense of what BIPOC and POC, that those terminologies, the biggest sense of what of who is included in that community will be showcased artistically and in the event. So July 9 in Boston, Saturday, July 9 from 2 to 7, rain date July 16th. And then leading up to that, we have a whole slew of workshops, lectures, panel discussions to help orient people's orient their minds around the idea of, if we were starting from a place of unity, if we were to literally create our own story, so it's a myth-making story. If we were to start from a place of unity as people of color, what could we create? And exploring that again through workshops, lectures, discussions, seeing examples and imagining together so that we are primed and ready to create something really beautiful in July.
Powerful.
Ashleigh is-
Starting from a place of unity. What can we create together? That's it right there, Ashleigh. Go ahead, Caterina. Wow, powerful.
Yes, I'm so intrigued. Is everything just available in Boston? Is there anything that you do that's available virtually aside from searching and finding your music online?
Yeah, so the first discussion is a panel discussion happening Saturday, March 26th at 1 o'clock, and that will be virtual as well as in person. So if you're not here on the East Coast with me, you can still tune in. And we have an amazing textile artist, a phenomenal quilter. She calls herself a visual activist, Lamerchi Frazier, who is known globally for her really unique art practice involving quilts. For her to talk about her experience and her work in recalling ancestral memory in African diasporic communities. A restaurateur from Nepali who lives in Boston, working in the food services and creating all sorts of unique experiences around food as his art practice, infused with all sorts of other cultures, Bipla Ray, and Black, Indigenous, Cape Verdean dancer Jenny Oliver to talk about all sorts of multiple identities and complications that arose from those multiple sort of conflicts around multiple identities. Which identity am I today, and in which space do I present myself, and how do I present myself, and how that affects their art, and then how we can learn and work together as multiple expressions of ourselves. So I hold multiplicities and you hold multiplicities, and how can we make space and honor those together? In a nutshell, sorry, that's a long nutshell, but that's our panel discussion on March 26th. Yeah, 1 o'clock. Mask, MASSQ ball.com. You can RSVP and tune in to the live stream if you're not here with us in Boston.
Wow.
Nice.
Ashleigh, you've been a dream. This has been a dream conversation. It is so exciting to see what you guys are doing in the community in such a big way, and to celebrate your 10th anniversary in such a colorful, meaningful, and with the panel discussions and everything. That's a big gift. So I hope our listeners will really tune in to something of that caliber, because that and to watch for those kind of calibers in their own communities, because sometimes we don't even know what's available to us.
Right. Seeking you shall find. I mean, what you've done is you've opened our mind, Ashleigh, to what's available, what's out there. And what I will take away from this is go find it. If you want to expose your young people to the arts, programs are out there. Don't use money as an excuse. Don't use that it's not available to me as an excuse. It's out there. And if we started unity, what can we create together? Something powerful, something beautiful. You've been amazing. Like Gloria said, you've been a dream. Thank you for joining us. You guys, our time is up. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining. We Got Issues with Sabrina, Caterina, Gloria, Crisette, and Ashleigh today. Thank you for joining our tribe. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ashleigh.
Ciao.
Thank you.